Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to the witnesses. Over the last year, the world has gotten much more dangerous. And unfortunately, that danger is a direct consequence of a series of foreign policy failures by the Biden-Harris administration. We have seen President Biden's weakness over and over again translating into making America less safe. In Afghanistan, we saw an absolute catastrophe with Biden's surrender to the Taliban, abandoning Americans behind enemy lines, and the chaos that resulted. When that occurred, every enemy of America looked to Washington and took measure of the man in the Oval Office. And whether it was Russia or Iran or North Korea or China, they all determined that the president was too weak to be a serious threat to them. And unfortunately, as a consequence, each of them has gotten substantially more bellicose, substantially more aggressive. As we sit here today, over 100,000 Russian troops are massed on the border of Ukraine, preparing to invade Ukraine because Joe Biden surrendered to Vladimir Putin on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and paved the way for Putin to take a major step towards his long-term goal of rebuilding the Soviet Union and once again posing a massive threat to the safety and security of Americans. In China, the weakness of the Biden administration from abandoning Afghanistan, from surrendering to Putin, has been noticed. And the Afghanistan disaster, I believe, made it substantially more likely that China will launch an amphibious military assault against Taiwan sometime between now and the end of 2024, because for the same reason that Putin is preparing to launch an invasion of Ukraine, our enemies have determined this president is too weak to stand up to them. That has been complicated even further by the Biden administration's incoherence and undermining of Taiwan, which unfortunately serves as an encouragement to the Chinese Communist government to engage in military hostilities directed at Taiwan. Every few weeks, we see another example of bumbling and incompetence from this administration when it comes to Taiwan. Over the summer, for instance, the White House's official Twitter account first posted and then deleted a tweet about vaccination donations in Taiwan because the tweet included a flag of Taiwan. Our Taiwanese allies were forced to publicly ask the White House not to cause unnecessary speculation or misunderstanding from all walks of life due to the removal of the related tweet. The Biden White House publicly retreated from Taiwan to avoid angering the communist overlords in China. More broadly, the Biden administration has imposed a policy forbidding our Taiwanese allies from displaying symbols of their sovereignty, whether flags or medals or uniforms, on U.S. soil. This is a policy that goes back to 2015 when the Obama administration capitulated to the Chinese Communist Party demands to restrict Taiwanese activities. I fought for the Trump administration to change this policy. It took 4 years to get it done, but ultimately they did. They changed the policy to allow our Taiwanese allies to display their flags and military uniforms. The Biden administration reversed that policy. And it did so knowing it was over the objection of Republicans and Democrats in the Senate on this committee. I introduced legislation in this committee to restore the policy allowing Taiwan to display its symbols of sovereignty. It passed overwhelmingly in this committee with bipartisan support. It passed the Senate overwhelmingly with bipartisan support, and yet the Biden administration is defying the United States Senate and continues to impose this policy, undermining our ally Taiwan. And I've even heard recently from officers at several bases that DOD is asking for stricter enforcement of the ban after a Taiwanese graduate of the Air Force Academy wore the Taiwanese flag at a graduation ceremony. Meanwhile, we hear from Biden administration officials that they've actually loosened contact guidance for Taiwan. Dr. Ratner, what is the Biden administration's actual policy regarding the ability of our Taiwanese allies to display their national symbols of sovereignty, and has that policy been memorialized in a written memo that is being distributed within the administration?
Senator, I'm going to defer to my State Department colleague who has oversight of that particular piece. What I will say is I'm not familiar with the case that you raised vis-a-vis DOD, and I'll look into that. Thank you.
But your office has not circulated any guidance within DOD?
All right, it's enough.
State Department determines contact guidance for for the U.S. government as a whole.
Okay, well then same question.
Senator, first I would say that everything that animates our approach to the Indo-Pacific is designed to demonstrate the credibility of our commitment to the region and to our allies, and no one should doubt the strength of that commitment and the capabilities that America brings to bear. Under this administration, and since I've had the honor of having this job, America has revitalized its engagement with allies and partners across the region in a way that improves our national security and our prosperity, that counters the aggressive and coercive actions by the PRC.
I just asked what the policy was in Taiwan.
Yes, Senator. And then on the second part, if I can respond, Senator.
Mr. Secretary?
Yes, I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry. But the time of the senator is well past expired. There have been members who have been waiting here. The senator
He just hasn't answered the question at all.
The senator used 5 minutes to make a statement before he ever got to a question. I can't allow all members to do that, or we'll be here forever. So I'm happy.
You're not going to allow him
to be included to the record. No, you can speak for 5 minutes if you choose to, but then you can't speak for 5 minutes and then think you can ask a series of questions.
I asked one question. I asked one question that he's refused to answer.
This is your third.
I asked one question.
It's unfair to the other members who have been waiting here.
I asked one question. The DOD witness said he couldn't answer the State Department.
Secretary will answer it for the record. Senator Kaine.
Let the record reflect that the chair is protecting the Biden administration from admitting their policies undermining
Let the record
Taiwan.
reflect that when the senator from Texas turns his back to the chair and thinks that he can run out the clock and then begin to ask questions, that dog won't
I
hunt
actually
you.
just look at the person to whom I'm
that
speaking,
dog
so I
won't-
look at the witnesses when I'm asking them
see the
questions,
clock.
and I'm looking at you now when
I
you're
know you
trying to
enjoy this
prevent the
because you
witnesses
put it
from
up on your
answering the question.
YouTube channel. You can't run the clock in statement, which you're free to do.
Look, your
And then
exchange is
ask
taking
questions.
longer than it would take for them to answer the question.
Senator Kaine is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item I would like to ask each of you about. I do believe the Biden